A woman surrounded by angels. There is a mystery hidden in plain sight, one that the world often overlooks. The woman who walks unseen by men's applause, but is surrounded by heaven's army. She is not ordinary, though she may appear so. She doesn't speak loudly, but her silence shakes realms. This is the woman who lives by inner conviction, who trusts the unseen more than what her eyes can behold. Around her, though invisible to the natural mind, are hosts of angels, sent not because she begged, but because she believed. Her power is not in the noise she makes, but in the atmosphere she carries. She is surrounded not for protection alone, but for purpose. She has aligned herself with a higher law, a greater truth, that she is not alone, not forgotten, not forsaken. She is the beloved of the Most High, and all of heaven knows her name. Wherever she walks, angels tread. Whatever she touches, grace follows, and though storms may roar, she remains untouched, for she is encircled by light. This is the mystery of the woman who has awakened to who she truly is, a woman surrounded by angels. She does not summon angels with rituals or candles, she draws them by the condition of her inner world. This woman knows the sacred truth, that everything begins within, and what she sees around her is only a mirror of the state she occupies inside. The world will tell her to fear, to plead, to run for cover, but she does none of these things. She closes her eyes and returns to her center. She rests in the stillness where angels assemble. She understands that angels are not far away. They are drawn to frequencies, to atmospheres, to identities rooted in divine authority, and her atmosphere is rich with knowing. She has trained her inner eye to see what is not yet seen, and she lives from that vision. The woman surrounded by angels is not trying to become worthy. She has already accepted that she is. She has awakened from the illusion of separation. She no longer waits for God to move. She moves in God, and the moment she assumes this posture of inner certainty, the invisible realm becomes visible in its manifestations. Angels do not respond to begging. They respond to the inner conviction that all is well. She has made peace her natural dwelling place, and now peace follows her. The angels encircle her not out of pity, but in obedience to her inner dominion. She lives in the finished vision. In her imagination, she sees the promise as fulfilled. She walks in the end result before it ever materializes in form, and in that unseen garden of fulfilled dreams, angels tend to her harvest. She has removed doubt from her vocabulary and cast off fear like an old garment. Where others see lack, she sees abundance. Where others see rejection, she sees redirection. Where others see delay, she sees preparation. Because of this divine perspective, she creates a magnetic field around her, a sanctuary in motion. When she enters a space, the atmosphere shifts. People feel peace and don't know why. Doors open that were sealed for years. Opportunities find her in wilderness places. This is not luck. This is law. The law of consciousness honors the one who dwells in the truth of her identity, and this woman has made her inner world a sanctuary of faith. She guards her thoughts the way one guards treasure, for she knows her thoughts become her world. She refuses to entertain fear because she understands it as a false prophecy. Instead, she feasts on the vision that is already hers. She beholds herself not as broken, but as whole, not as lacking, but as overflowing, not as abandoned, but as divinely kept. And because she lives in this truth, angels are compelled to move on her behalf. The woman surrounded by angels has learned to walk by inner sight. While others look around and ask, where is the help? She looks within and declares it is done. She has silenced the voice of panic, the scream of delay, the echo of betrayal. She does not entertain conversations that contradict her destiny. Her mind is not a battleground. It is a temple. Her heart is not a hiding place for wounds. It is a throne of grace. She has learned to dwell in the secret place, and there, under the shadow of the Almighty, she lives untouched by harm. The world may rage, but she remains unmoved. Why? Because the angels are not just outside her. They move through her, within her, around her. Her very breath is in rhythm with heaven. Her every step is guided by divine wisdom. She knows her path is already lit because she walks it in faith. Her prayers are not cries for rescue. They are declarations of truth. She speaks as one who knows the outcome, and therefore creation obeys her voice. The winds calm when she speaks peace. The storms part when she holds her ground. Delays dissolve when she stays in alignment with her vision. The angels respond to her not because she is louder, but because she is aligned. Alignment is her language. Obedience to the inner whisper is her compass. She no longer needs to chase signs, for she has become one. And so the angels surround her not randomly, but precisely. Each one is assigned to her purpose. They walk with her, speak through her, minister to her spirit, and carry the pieces of her promise into place. They war for her silently when attacks come cloaked in confusion. They whisper answers when logic fails. They hold her steady when emotions rise like floods, and they go before her to prepare places she has only dreamed of. Yet she never worships the angels. They are not the source. They are the evidence of the source that lives within her. Her faith has become a dwelling place, and in that dwelling she is never alone. The woman surrounded by angels does not need to be seen to be significant. Her impact is not measured by visibility but by vibration. The frequency of her spirit sends shockwaves into the invisible, and the heavens respond. Demons flee not because she shouts, but because her presence burns with authority. Bondages break, not because she fights them, but because they cannot exist in the realm she lives in. She does not chase validation, for she has found her worth in the voice of the one who called her beloved. She walks with grace, not because she has never stumbled, but because she knows who lifts her every time. Her scars have become her scrolls, and her pain has become her pulpit, and through it all she has never been alone. The angels were there, in the heartbreak, in the silence, in the waiting, in the rising. They did not leave when others walked away. They remained when the world forgot, because her assignment is sacred. Her presence is needed. Her voice is part of the divine orchestra, and so the angels remain, not because she is flawless, but because she is faithful. She remains in alignment with her calling, and because of that she remains surrounded. The woman surrounded by angels understands that the most powerful forces move invisibly. She does not argue her way into her destiny. She aligns with it. She does not manipulate doors to open. She prepares herself inwardly and watches them swing wide. The angels come not to rescue her from life, but to partner with her in the fulfillment of it. And so every step she takes is sacred. Every decision she makes carries weight. She is not just a woman. She is a portal through which heaven moves. Her faith is her invitation. Her surrender is her strength. Her identity is her authority. And this is why she is surrounded by angels. She is not loud, but she is heard in heaven. The woman surrounded by angels has discovered a sacred stillness, a divine quietness that is more powerful than the chaos around her. In a world that screams for attention, she has mastered the art of silence, not silence of defeat or repression, but the holy silence of inner knowing. Her stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of alignment. She is not inactive, she is inwardly anchored. In her stillness she communes with the divine. She doesn't need noise to feel alive. She feels the pulse of eternity in every moment of quiet. While others panic, she breathes deeply. While others react, she observes. While others run, she remains, not because she lacks urgency, but because she understands authority. She knows that angels are not moved by emotional outbursts, but by spiritual alignment. The stillness she lives in is a magnet to the heavenly realm. It's in this sacred stillness that she hears instructions no one else can hear, sees visions that don't yet exist, and receives revelations that become the framework of her reality. In the silence she becomes untouchable, not because the enemy doesn't come, but because he cannot find access. Her stillness is a fortress. It is not passivity. It is spiritual power under control. Her mind is a garden cultivated in silence. Her spirit is trained to respond, not react. Her soul is not tossed by every wind of opinion, because she has tuned her ears to a frequency higher than human chatter. In her stillness she has learned to let go of what is not hers to carry. She doesn't chase outcomes. She aligns with divine timing. She doesn't force people to stay. She blesses what leaves and trusts what remains. The angels that surround her are not standing still because they are idle. They wait for her command, and she only commands when she is in peace. Her peace is the signal that she trusts the vision. Her stillness is not a delay, it is divine preparation. She understands that everything powerful in the natural begins in the invisible, and the invisible is ruled from within. So she cultivates her inner temple with reverence. She doesn't speak every thought, doesn't act on every feeling. Her discernment has matured through silence. Her wisdom was born in quiet spaces where no one applauded, no one noticed, and yet heaven was watching. In those hidden moments the angels assembled, not because of what she said, but because of what she carried. The stillness formed her character, refined her focus, burned off what was false, and revealed what was eternal. The world misunderstands stillness. They think she has given up, but she has not surrendered to the world. She has surrendered to the will of God. That surrender has become her shield. She no longer needs to prove herself, for she knows who she is. Her identity is no longer anchored in performance, but in presence, and presence is found in stillness. She is not striving to be loved. She is resting in the truth that she already is. And because of that, she becomes a resting place for the presence of God. And where God rests, angels gather. The woman surrounded by angels has come to understand that action without alignment is noise. She does not rush just because others are running. She waits, not in laziness, but in strength. Her waiting is not idle. It is active alignment with the unseen. And while she waits, things move, heaven shifts, people are positioned, resources are released, favor is assigned, miracles are scheduled, not because she is pushing, but because she is positioned. Her stillness has become a throne. She governs from within. She rules her world from the realm of spirit, not by control, but by consciousness, and the angels obey the spiritual laws she honors. She speaks only when the word is ripe, and when she does, her voice carries weight. She has no need for endless explanations or arguments. Her spirit speaks louder than her mouth. The peace she walks in is felt by those around her. It disarms enemies. It draws the broken. It settles the anxious. And yet her stillness is not always soft. It is sharp. It cuts through illusions. It exposes falsehoods. It reveals truth without shouting. Her presence alone speaks of what cannot be seen. She does not fear the delay, for she understands divine orchestration. She is aware that while nothing seems to be happening on the surface, everything is aligning beneath it. She has learned to trust the silence between the promise and its fulfillment. That trust has become her crown. While others crumble in the in-between, she flourishes because her roots go deep, deeper than opinion, deeper than appearance, deeper than time. Her roots go into the eternal. She lives from the end and walks in peace, knowing that what is hers cannot be lost. Her hands may be still, but her faith is working. Her posture may look quiet, but the heavens are moving in response to her stillness. The woman surrounded by angels does not chase blessings. She becomes the embodiment of the blessing itself. Her very being is a portal of divine presence, and angels are attracted to that frequency. She does not manipulate, she magnetizes. She does not beg, she believes. She does not strive, she stewards, and through it all she remains still, as she knows who her God is. The stillness she carries is a weapon. It has protected her from unnecessary battles. It has silenced false accusations. It has exposed hidden agendas. It has preserved her energy for what truly matters. In stillness she receives strategy. In stillness she finds strength. In stillness she becomes one with the spirit that cannot be shaken. She knows the battle is not always won with noise, but with knowing. And she knows she is kept. She knows she is chosen. She knows she is covered. She knows angels are stationed not just around her body, but around her destiny. They are present in her home, in her relationships, in her future. And in stillness she communes with them. She has matured past the need to see them with physical eyes, for she knows their presence by the peace she carries. She no longer needs signs to believe. Her faith is the evidence. The woman surrounded by angels carries within her a stillness that shakes foundations. She has silenced the internal noise, and now nothing external can pull her off course. She has wept in silence, healed in silence, grown in silence. And now she reigns in silence, not the reign of ego, but of essence. She does not wear a crown that man can see, but heaven recognizes her authority. Her stillness has become her seal, and that stillness is not empty. It is full of promise, full of purpose, full of power, full of angels. She doesn't pray for angels to surround her because she already walks in the consciousness that they do. The woman surrounded by angels is not hoping for favor. She is living as the favored. Her identity is not a wish, it is a revelation. She has stopped trying to become someone and has started being who she already is, and in that knowing, the angels are magnetized to her presence. They are not responding to her voice alone, but to her identity. Heaven does not move at the volume of panic. It moves at the frequency of awareness. She has awakened to her true self, the self that was hidden beneath shame, fear, and conditioning, and in that unveiling her life began to shift. Angels were assigned the moment she came into alignment with the truth of who she is, not who the world told her to be, not who trauma tried to shape, but the original self, the divine image. The woman who sees herself through the eyes of God calls forth heavenly intervention, not by demanding it, but by dwelling in the truth that she is one with the divine. She has stepped into her rightful place as a daughter of purpose, and now the angelic realm must honor what she carries. Her posture is not arrogance, it is awareness. She doesn't fake confidence. She walks in spiritual authority because she has remembered herself. She has awakened from the slumber of smallness and now refuses to shrink for anyone. The angels do not follow her because she shouts scriptures, but because she has become the scripture in motion. Her life is a living word, and that word does not return void. Everything about her presence speaks of promise. Her identity precedes her into rooms, her energy shifts atmospheres, her presence carries weight, not because of status, but because of substance. She has become aware of her origin. She is not a victim of chance, but an expression of divine choice. Her steps are ordered, not random. Her trials were not punishments, but initiations. The fire she walked through did not destroy her, it refined her identity, and now she carries the scent of destiny. The angels gather not because she is perfect, but because she is aligned. The woman surrounded by angels knows that identity is more than affirmations, it is embodiment. She does not repeat who she is to convince herself. She lives it until the world has no choice but to respond. She no longer tolerates what contradicts her calling. Her standards have become sacred. Her boundaries are declarations. She does not compromise her worth, for she has remembered the price that was already paid. She doesn't have to earn her protection, she lives in it. She doesn't beg for breakthroughs, she becomes the version of herself who already has them. Her internal world now reflects heaven, and heaven sends its armies in response. She knows the truth. Angels respond to identity, not to insecurity. They are not assigned to who she pretends to be, but to who she authentically is. When she stopped hiding, they came forward. When she shed the false labels and assumptions, they were released to guide, guard, and govern the path ahead. Her identity is the beacon. Her self, knowing, is the signal. She walks through darkness with light in her eyes because she has become aware that the kingdom is within her. She doesn't need to search for angels in the sky. They are already walking with her, moving before her, and standing behind her. They are activated every time she refuses to settle. They are released every time she trusts instead of fears. They surround her not as decoration but as delegation. They are present to execute the divine plan spoken over her life, and they are loyal to the true version of her, the one who came to earth not to conform but to transform. The woman surrounded by angels understands that how she sees herself sets the pattern for how everything responds to her. Heaven cannot confirm what she denies. If she walks as less than, the angels wait. But the moment she stands in full spiritual stature, the moment she says, I am who God says I am, the heavens erupt with movement, doors swing open, delays dissolve, provision flows, favor tracks her. Because she has claimed her name, her place, her promise. Her identity has become her environment. She no longer waits for the right conditions, she becomes them. She no longer asks for signs, she is the sign. The angels are drawn to this awareness like rivers to the ocean. Her knowing is their instruction, her faith is their language, her confidence in God and in herself forms the architecture of miracles. She is no longer moved by rejection, for she knows rejection is a form of redirection. She is no longer haunted by comparison, for she knows no one can carry what she carries. She is no longer distracted by delay, for she understands timing obeys alignment. The woman surrounded by angels carries an identity that heaven must honor, and this identity is not rooted in ego, it is rooted in intimacy. She has not manufactured her worth through performance, she has discovered it in the presence. In the quiet spaces where no applause was heard, she was being crowned. When others saw her fall, the angels saw her rise. She carries a testimony etched in silence and sealed in glory, and this testimony has become her throne. She doesn't need to explain herself. Her presence explains everything. She walks into a room and the atmosphere knows. She speaks and strongholds break. She prays and things shift. She dreams and heaven rushes to deliver. Because the woman who knows who she is cannot be denied. The angels are under assignment to protect, defend, and deliver every promise connected to the identity she has embraced. She is not confused anymore. She doesn't wear masks. She doesn't play small. She lives as one who knows that identity is the original anointing. Her identity activates access. Her identity releases favor. Her identity sustains peace. And the angels, they are not distant guardians. They are her covenant company. She lives in rhythm with heaven, and the rhythm is set by who she knows she is. She no longer entertains relationships that dishonor her identity. She no longer accepts environments that suffocate her truth. She is too aware to settle, too awake to sleepwalk through life, too aligned to be deceived. The angels walk with her because she walks in truth. Not just any truth, but the truth of her being. She doesn't need to prove it, she is it, and in being it, she becomes a portal through which heaven touches earth. The angels recognize her because she has remembered herself. And that memory, that divine remembrance, is the key that opens every door. Her identity is no longer negotiable. It is her home, it is her shield, it is her strength, and because of it, she is never alone. She is, and always will be, a woman surrounded by angels. She no longer waits to see the evidence before she believes. It is the other way around. The woman surrounded by angels has learned the highest law of creation, to live from the vision, not toward it. She does not beg for the future, she occupies it. She doesn't chase miracles, she lives inside them. Her entire life is an offering of faith, not as a concept, but as a state of being. She walks, talks, thinks, and moves as the woman who already has what she once cried for. Her current reality may appear unchanged to the outer world, but within her the harvest is already ripe. She has entered the field of fulfillment, not through striving, but through surrender. She knows how the law works. The moment she assumes the feeling of the wish fulfilled, heaven responds. The angels do not wait for her situation to shift. They act the moment her state shifts. She has entered alignment with what is already done, and because of that, the invisible realm opens. She doesn't look for confirmation. Her inner world is the confirmation. While others are trying to make something happen, she is living in the end result. She has tasted the promise in her spirit and now lives as if it is already here. This inner conviction is not delusion, it is divine design. And the angels honor it. Her world begins to conform, not by force, but by frequency. The vibration she carries is the vibration of completion. She walks through each day, not with longing, but with gratitude. Her gratitude is not shallow lip service. It is rooted in the knowing that she has already received, and because she has received inwardly, the outer world begins to mirror her faith. The woman, surrounded by angels, does not collapse in the waiting room of life. She does not make her home in frustration or confusion. She sets up camp in the vision fulfilled. She prays from the answer, not toward it. She gives thanks as if the door has already opened, because in her world it has. Her imagination is not an escape, it is the blueprint. It is the realm where she communes with God, where she touches what has not yet come, and where she becomes the version of herself that lives inside the victory. And it is from there that she acts. That is why the angels are with her, because she is not wavering. She is not shifting between hope and fear. She is not questioning if she's worthy. She has settled it in her spirit. She knows that what was shown to her was not fantasy, but prophecy, and because of that she treats the vision as sacred. She does not share it with those who cannot see. She does not expose it to doubt. She protects it with her life because she understands that the vision is life. The angels are not her backup. They are her builders. They are moving pieces, aligning people, clearing paths, and defending the timeline that heaven has ordained. And all of this is made possible because she lives in the field of fulfillment. She no longer needs to manipulate circumstances. She no longer forces doors. She is magnetic. She draws to her what matches her inner state. She knows the law is faithful. It cannot fail. What she holds within, she must see without. Her responsibility is to remain in the state, to abide in the end, to dwell in the outcome. That is her temple. That is her home while others cry, when will it happen? She smiles, knowing it already has. She is calm, not because life is perfect, but because she is anchored in the unseen. The angels gather around this woman because she is steadfast. She is not moved by delay because delay does not exist where she lives. In her world all things are now. She does not entertain anxiety, for anxiety belongs to those who do not believe. Her peace is not circumstantial, it is positional. She lives in the end, and in the end all is well. Her relationships reflect the healed version of her. Her finances respond to her abundant inner world. Her body aligns with the image of wholeness she carries inside. Her business, her calling, her purpose all bloom in the atmosphere of her faith. She is not pretending, she is prophesying. Her every step declares it is done. Her every thought becomes a seed, and her every word waters that garden. She speaks from the future. She walks with the authority of one who has seen the promise fulfilled. Her life is a field where the invisible becomes visible, where ideas become things, and where angels move without obstruction. She has removed doubt as if pulling weeds. She has burned bridges to fear. She no longer argues with reality. She replaces it. Her imagination is the furnace where new realities are born. The world may see her as still, but in spirit she is already there. Her timeline is divine, not logical. Her source is God, not man. Her strength is quiet, but her faith shakes realms. The woman surrounded by angels lives in a parallel dimension of trust, and because of this, the natural bends to accommodate the supernatural she hosts. She is not impressed by temporary problems. She is not shaken by negative reports. She does not rehearse defeat. She rehearses victory. She wakes up each morning with the memory of the vision, and she goes to sleep each night in the warmth of its reality. She has made the fulfilled promise her dwelling, and that is why the angels remain. They are not guests, they are co-laborers. They recognize her authority because she has assumed the position of agreement. She is in covenant with the outcome. She doesn't revisit old prayers. She lives in answered ones. Her identity is married to the fulfillment, and everything around her must rise to meet that level. She is not distracted by appearances. She does not settle for partial blessings. She knows what she saw. She knows what she heard. She knows what she carries, and the angels do too. Her life is proof that when you live in the end becomes your beginning. She has flipped the script, reversed the order, and walked straight into the reality that was once only a dream, but now it is her truth. Her atmosphere is charged with completion. Her presence exudes assurance. And wherever she goes, angels go with her, enforcing the vision, protecting the prophecy, and preparing the stage for what already is. This is not a waiting woman. This is a fulfilled one. She is not surrounded because she needs help. She is surrounded because she is in purpose. The angels were not sent because she was desperate. They were assigned because she is aligned. Her alignment is not fragile. It is forged in fire. She has died to doubt. She has divorced the need to understand everything. She has married faith. She walks with confidence that is rooted in covenant. Her entire life is now the unfolding of what was once imagined, and because she lives from the vision, not toward it, she remains untouched, unbothered, and unmistakably chosen. She is the woman whose life proves the law. She is the woman who no longer asks when. It is now, and that woman will always, always be surrounded by angels. The woman surrounded by angels does not live by force. She lives by surrender. Not the kind of surrender that comes from weariness or defeat, but the sacred, holy surrender that comes from revelation. She has discovered that her greatest power is not in how tightly she can hold on, but in how fully she can let go. She has stopped wrestling with outcomes, timelines, and expectations. She has released the illusion of control and allowed herself to be carried by the current of divine will. Her surrender is not passive, it is spiritual warfare in its highest form. In surrender, she aligns herself with the God who cannot fail, and because of this, angels gather around her. They do not come because she fights harder. They come because she trusts deeper. Her faith is no longer built on what she can see or touch. It is built on a knowing that surpasses understanding. She no longer manipulates. She no longer pushes. She no longer strives to be heard or seen or validated. Instead, she abides. She rests in the truth that what is hers will find her, that what is aligned cannot miss her, and that what is ordained cannot be taken. Her surrender has created a field where angels can move without obstruction, because there is no fear left to block them. Fear has been burned away by faith, and doubt has been silenced by devotion. She does not need to have every answer. She only needs to stay in alignment. Her yes is more powerful than 1,000 declarations spoken in fear. Her still heart echoes louder in heaven than the loudest panic in the earth. She is the woman who says, "Not my will, but yours," and means it, and that simple act of trust has become her shield, her strategy, and her signature. Her surrender has opened doors her striving never could. What she tried to chase down in her own strength is now being delivered to her doorstep by divine assignment. Because when she let go, God took over. And when God takes over, nothing is impossible. The angels that surround her are not trying to fix chaos. They are responding to divine order. That order begins in her heart. It begins in the quiet decisions, in the unseen obedience, in the whispered prayers. It begins when she chooses faith over fear, forgiveness over resentment, worship over worry. The angels align with surrender because surrender makes room for the supernatural. She has come to understand that trying to control everything is a subtle form of fear, and fear is the enemy of miracles. But when she lays it down, when she releases what she cannot carry, heaven rushes in. The woman surrounded by angels has mastered the art of release. She no longer clings to what drains her. She no longer tolerates what dishonors her. She no longer compromises what God has whispered in the secret place. She is not afraid to let go, because she knows that letting go of the lesser makes space for the greater. She does not fear the unknown, because she knows who goes before her. Her surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. She has learned that sometimes the miracle is not in the breakthrough, but in the decision to stop trying to make something happen and trust that what is meant for her cannot pass her by. This woman is dangerous, not because she fights, but because she flows. She flows with the Spirit. She moves when he moves. She stops when he says wait. She doesn't need all the details to obey. She doesn't need confirmation from people to follow the inner leading. Her ears are tuned to heaven, and her heart is soft enough to listen. That is why the angels go with her, because her surrender has made her safe to carry the sacred. She doesn't carry bitterness, she carries blessing. She doesn't carry resentment, she carries revelation. She doesn't carry control, she carries covenant, and that covenant has surrounded her with protection no man can interrupt. The angels are not just surrounding her body, they are surrounding her assignment. They are protecting the promise she carries, the destiny she embodies, and the words spoken over her life. She no longer debates whether she is chosen. She knows it, and because she knows it, she walks in a holy rhythm that cannot be imitated. Her surrender has made her untouchable to the enemy, not because she doesn't face attacks, but because the attacks have no power where there is no fear. She has stripped fear of its language. She has closed every open door to doubt. She has clothed herself in the armor of thy will be done. And because of that, the gates of hell cannot prevail. Her surrender has become her sword. She no longer wars from exhaustion. She wars from rest. She no longer prays from panic. She prays from peace. She doesn't beg for blessings. She positions herself as one already blessed. The angels move not because she is anxious, but because she is available. She is available to divine timing, to divine pruning, to divine redirection. She has accepted the truth that sometimes the very thing she wanted most must be released to make room for what God had in mind all along. And even when it hurts, she surrenders. Even when it's uncertain, she surrenders. Even when she doesn't understand, she lifts her hands and says, "Still, I trust you." And in that moment, all of heaven leans in. Because faith like that cannot be ignored. It is the kind of faith that makes angels move. She has become a vessel, not a victim. She has become a temple, not a tornado. She has become a resting place for the presence of God, and that presence commands the attention of the unseen realm. She is not fighting for victory. She is standing in it. The angels surround her because she has become a woman of peace, not peace that avoids conflict, but peace that overrides it. Her stillness is not silence, it is strategy. Her surrender is not retreat, it is reign. She rules without needing to control. She leads without needing to dominate. She influences without needing to impress. Her power is in her posture, and her posture is one of yielded obedience. She walks with open hands and an open heart, knowing that whatever she releases will return multiplied, or be replaced by something better. She lives in the truth that surrender is not loss, it is transformation. What breaks her open only makes more room for the glory. The angels surround her not just because of her destiny, but because of her decision. She chose surrender over struggle, trust over turmoil, rest over resistance. And now her life is a testament to what happens when a woman stops striving and starts believing. She has made room for the miraculous. She has become a channel for the impossible. She has stepped aside so that God could step in. And when God steps in, no one, not person, not demon, not circumstance, can stand against her. The woman surrounded by angels is not the strongest by the world's standards, but she is the most surrendered. And in the kingdom, that is where true power lies. She is the one who doesn't just talk about trust. She embodies it, she lives it, she breathes it, and because she does, angels walk beside her, behind her, and before her. She is never alone, never forsaken, never without divine backup. She is the woman who said yes, even when it cost her everything. She is the woman who let go, and in doing so gained it all. She is the woman who surrendered, and in surrender she won.